In this movie, we'll show you how to create tokenized or parameterized manual tests. Let's imagine that you wanted to create a test where you tested the login process with different user ID and passwords. And instead of having to create 5 or 6 individual tests for each user ID password, you'd like to create a single test and then pass in the user ID password so that you can reuse that test over and over. Well, I'll show you how to do that. We're in the test library of the test management section. As we know, to create a new test, we simply go to the directory we'd like to place it in and then press Add New. Then we'll give it a name. This is going to be a test of the login process. I'll go ahead and fill in the rest of the information on the screen. Once I fill in the rest of this information, I can press Submit, and this is where I can create my steps. I'll make this screen a little wider by pressing the chevron there, and I'll go ahead and type in my first step. So what you'll see here is that I'm putting a step in here to log in the system with a user ID. This is what we call a token. So we'll have it fill in the user ID from a spreadsheet. In just a second, I'll show you how to do that. Notice in this last one, I included both the user ID and password in here, just to illustrate that you can actually have multiple tokens inside of one step or expected result. Notice also that when I define the token, you define it with a left bracket and you end it with a right bracket, and it has to start with a left bracket and a question mark. When you're typing in the name of the token, it has to be a name with no special characters and no spaces. It can have an underscore, but it can't have a space, and it can't have special characters like this. So it has to be something without special characters, something without spaces. Once I'm done with this, I can press Save, and it'll save the steps. Now the next step is to define the values that will be passed into this test case, and I can do that by coming to this token value screen. Notice once I get here, it recognizes that I entered in user ID and passwords as 2 tokens. So the next step is to copy that and create a spreadsheet that has these 2 items in there. I'll bring up Excel and do that. So we'll put user ID here, and then we'll also put password. Once you have the token names in the first row, you can then fill in as many tokens as you like. Let's say that we wanted to try this. Then we could put in the second user ID password, and then we'll put in one more. Once we're done with this, we want to save this as a comma separated file. We'll do that by pressing File, Save As, and we'll slide down and choose a comma separated file. Then you can tell it where you want to save it, and then press Save. It may ask you to save it in this different format. That's fine. We'll go ahead and minimize this, and then we'll search for that on our hard drive. Then we'll press Submit, and it'll upload that token file. So it's now telling us that it's attached the CSV file called tokens.csv, and it found 3 different user ID and passwords in that spreadsheet. If we needed to change that, we can easily do that. I can bring the spreadsheet back up, and I can add another here. I can save that. Then I can re-upload it, press Submit, and notice that it's now showing that we have 4 rows of information in that spreadsheet. If you did want to download that spreadsheet, you can also download it from here by just pressing Download, and it'll ask if you want to download it locally. That way, if you wanted to make some changes and it wasn't on your hard drive, you could very easily do that. If you wanted to delete this set of tokens, you can press Delete, and it would delete that spreadsheet that's attached to this record. Okay, so at this point, we have a test case called Test Login Process. And if we go in and look at the steps, we'll see that we have our steps here. It'll pass in from the token values 4 different user ID passwords. Now let's set this up in a test set and let's run it. So let's go to the test sets area, and we can either create a new test set, or we can include this test case in an existing test set. Let's do that. We'll go to our regression test here, and we'll go to our order maintenance regression, and we'll come into the test section, and it already has 3 test cases in this test set. We're going to add the one that we just created by pressing Edit Tests. Then we'll choose the directory that contains that. It's in the File Operations section. If I scroll down, here's the test login process there. I can drag and drop that here onto the canvas, and let's say that we wanted it be the first thing that we tested was the login process. We drug that to the top so that it will test that first. Press save, and now we can go back and run that test set. To do that, we simply press the run button. Once here, we'll choose what configuration we want to run under. Now notice that the test login process is going to be run 4 times. One time with each one of the user ID password combinations that we had defined on that test. So you'll see it says test login process 1 of 4 all the way through 4 of 4, then it runs the normal tests that are inside of that test set. To begin the run, we simply press the run button and it takes us into run mode. Once we're here, notice that it's automatically filling in the first one, the first user ID and password. If we pass all these steps and move to the next, it'll take us to the second one, and it fills in John Doe here. We'll pass all these, it takes us to the third one here, which is Abel Kane. We can pass all these, move on to the next one. Now if we did want to change one of these mid-flight, maybe this password was incorrect or something, we can come into edit mode here and change this password. And it'll save it just for this run. It won't save it back to your library. It'll simply save it for this run. Go ahead and tell it to pass all these steps. We'll move on, and then we can just continue on with our testing. Once it's done, it'll give us a summary of the run, as it normally would. So as you can see, this is an easy way to run a series of tests with different parameters without having to create multiple test cases. Hopefully you enjoy this feature. Thank you.